Hello, YouTube. I'm back for a little bit. Just want to give a quick update about my channel before I say anything else. Is that I definitely am done trying to convince people of my theories on this channel. All my prior theories I've ever put on my channel, I'm done trying to convince people on YouTube. I don't think many more people will be convinced. I've only convinced a few subscribers over the duration of this entire channel's history. And I've convinced a few people of my theories in person out there in my state of residence, but beyond that, I haven't convinced anybody. I've also convinced some people online. Whether it was whether those people were living in my state of residence or not doesn't really play a role as far as if they could be convinced or not. But one thing's for sure, I do have something I just recently have come to my attention that I have not addressed, but I have recently noticed as being a false argument in not only in American politics and in all politics, but a false argument that most people in history have held to. And I have talked a little bit about this before, but not very much on this channel, but I have talked a little bit about it. Something similar to this anyway, not exactly what I'm going to say. What I'm about to say is a little bit different. So what I'm talking about is the fact that I've noticed something astonishing, which is that the USA is actually not not only is it not the strongest country on earth, it's also the weakest country, probably the weakest country actually is the weakest country on earth, and I have astonishing proof. And it's come to my attention when I was thinking about the science, when I was studying earth science and studying math and physics, the ways that I've been talking about on my channel in recent months and in the past year. It got me really thinking about the psychology of different ethnicities, and it just after studying these different ethnicities and cultures and their background, which I had already been familiar with what I've been taught about them in school, in the American education school system, of course, as I've already talked about. But I think the American education system is full of lies in a lot of ways. But as far as which country is strongest in the actual hierarchy, ranking power system of countries, the American education system has been lying for all of history, as long as it's been around. And these countries, all these other foreign countries, have been doing the same thing. They've been all giving propaganda about every other country, telling lies about the strength of their own versus the strength of others' country. But I have astonishing proof that not only is the USA the weakest country in the world, it's also going to show. It's also going to prove that all humans in history have been mentally ill, like I've been saying, because if they actually have been arguing that the USA is the strongest country in the world when it's actually been the weakest, then they'd have to be extremely mentally ill to do that. And most people would agree. And also, most people will agree that all their religions are wrong and false after seeing the stellar proof I'm about to give you. I would say that I don't see how anybody will be able to deny this proof. So, and it doesn't take much. It's just dead giveaways as far as visual indicators on the map. If you look at the map and you look at the different regions of water versus land, here's the USA. The USA has more water surrounding it, far more water surrounding it than. Not only does it have far more water surrounding it than these countries do, which are the foreign countries, here's South America. Here's like the Asian countries and the African countries. And then you have Antarctica at the bottom. But little does people know, um, the fact that North America is surrounded by more water than this side, than these countries, means it's the weakest country. That's a dead giveaway. Why? I'll tell you why. Because, well, I don't know if it would be South America or North America in this case, but I'm leaning way more towards North America. Okay, a lot more. And I'll tell you why. North America being surrounded by more water means it's much more easily vulnerable to natural disasters and to extremely bad weather patterns and global warming. Water, the reason for that is, according to physics and chemistry, water molecules, the more water there is, the easier it is for irregular bad weather to happen, because water is more easy to use as a material to create bad weather, like tsunamis, hurricanes, and tornadoes, and rains and heavy storms. And water also causes more flood. If there's more water, there's a higher chances of flood. There's always a higher chance of flooding in America that's surrounded by more water. These countries don't have as much water near them, so they don't have as high a chance of flooding. The second indicator is the fact that these countries are much heavier countries. Look how big these countries are compared to North America. They have to weigh at least 3 times as much as America. According to physics, the heavier an object weighs, the better its resistance is to water and to unstable forms of matter. Water is a more unstable a form of matter than... Sorry about that. My retarded phone wouldn't shut up. So, anyway, according to physics, when a state of matter is in solid form, it's stronger. And according to, what is it called? According to physics, when a state of matter is liquid, it is dramatically less strong. So, and because these countries are bigger, they weigh more, and if something weighs more, it is more solid than liquid, or at least, I mean, don't get me wrong, America is solid land as much as these countries are, but when you have more solid land, you have a higher density and a higher weight. And because these countries weigh more, they have a higher density. A higher density means a stronger resistance to becoming weakened. So according to physics, these countries can actually resist gravity far better than North America can, because they're heavier. Which means if they can resist it better, it's harder to cause like earthquakes on these countries, or to make them closer to becoming the state of matter of liquid, from starting from solid, transitioning to liquid. It's harder to do that for these countries because there's so much, they're heavier, and they're just so much heavier, and basically that's all it really takes. But it's not just about the state of matter. It's just the fact that, again, the fact they have stronger resistance to gravity is speaking volumes. If they can resist gravity, just imagine what that means. They have a stronger resistance to gravity. They have less earthquakes. They have less rainstorms, less natural disasters. And the other thing is, and then on top of that, the fact that they have more land also means that they have more valuable resources. It means they have so they have more food and more ammunition and firepower. Now, why does the American media why is it always portrayed as being the opposite? Because the American media is run by corrupt rich individuals, you know, corrupt politicians and individuals who are indifferent to making the most of their country and of the world, just like most people are. Because as I've clearly talked about and shown for years now on this channel, most people in history, all people in history, humans in history, have been mentally ill. But anyway, moving on. So all those are dead giveaways, and you can see them just by visual indicators right here. Clearly, USA is the weakest. And then on top of that, there's even another indicator. We have the fact that, guess what? At the very bottom of the map, Antarctica. But guess what? That's colder weather. Why is colder weather a key role here? I'll tell you why. If you remember what I was saying about speed and slowness, it's similar to that. Slowness is always safer than speed, and cold weather will make things go slower rather than faster. And things stay intact and are stronger when things are slower versus when they are faster. So the fact that North America is further away. North America is much further away from extremely cold weather, Antarctica, versus these other countries. You can do the measurements. You can see if you do the scaling on the map, you can see that this country here, right here, this landmass is much closer. Its bottom tip is closer to the top tip of the white portion of Antarctica at the top here. If you do the measurement, North America is by a landslide much further away. Now, if you remember what I said, that means I was saying about how things are connected by physics, that would mean that there's an easier time for cold weather to make its way into these foreign countries because it's already closer than North America. Now, you do have this country, South America, which, of course, is closest to Antarctica out of every country, but that isn't everything. It's not just about, cold weather, because it still doesn't change the fact that North America is clearly far weaker, despite being much more far away from Antarctica than these foreign countries. On the contrary, North America does appear to have its own similar country to that of, like its own mini Antarctica. I forgot what country that is. Maybe Iceland or something. I don't know. Germany. I don't know, whatever. Not Germany. Iceland or something. But look, I forgot what country that is. But look, the point is, it has its own, but even when it does, it has to basically share it. Funnily enough, it still has to share it with these foreign countries. And that still pales in comparison to this country being massively closer to Antarctica than North America. It's not enough to even out. The fact that these two countries are sharing this tiny country of coldness is just that only is one reason why most of the even the one fighting chance North America has in all of this is that it has this one country that it's closest to that's really cold. But even when is it any coincidence that even when it manages to do that, it has to give it up because of its weakness? Just some of it has to give up. It has to almost give it up, like perfectly even out to this foreign country. And then on top of that, of course, Antarctica being massively closer to this landmass than North America. And when this is a bigger landmass of coldness than this ever is, massively so. So it doesn't even out. Even though there's a little bit more closeness here and there, it's not just about one area, it's about all the areas. And the other factors, aside from just the fact that, just because you're close to really cold landmass isn't everything. There's also the other factors I said that determine how strong a country is. And again, it doesn't change the fact that these countries are just many times bigger, and just like literally, that's a dead giveaway. I mean, I don't see how people in all of history have been so mentally retarded and mentally ill, like I've been saying for years. It's literally staring them right in the face. I mean, if you have a country that's this big, much bigger, it has 100 times the resources and 100 times less water surrounding it to mess with its resources, to flood it, or create natural disasters getting in the way of it, or causing more pollution. Like, that's 100 times less of all those negatives just because of the sheer size and the weight. So it makes no sense whatsoever for how North America could possibly be the strongest. So the strongest is not North America, it's the foreign countries. And on top of that, it's not even just that. Then there's another thing. Not only are they bigger, but they have each other. They have each other while being bigger. Like, look how close they are. When North America is smaller, it's further away from its one thing that helps it to compete than the strongest things are. They're already closer to each other when they are the strongest. When North America is the weakest, it doesn't even have anything close to it to help it be the weakest. Like, it does, but not by as much. Like, if you look at South America, North America versus these two, so these are not coincidences. It's just because when a thing is weaker, it has a harder time getting any like advantages or help or support from neighboring entities, and so it will have some help, but it's not going to even out as much. That's why I'm saying, like, it does have this, but even when it does, it has to give it over, and even if it has to like share it basically the same amount, because look at it's basically evenly dispersed between both. And then again, on top of that, even when this one is here, that's not everything. It's still, even if this white landmass was literally like in the middle of North America and nowhere near this, even if it was, North America would still be 10 times weaker, just because, like I said, the sheer weight, the sheer density and volume of land proportionate to water is already just by a landslide too much. Like I said, it's not all about your surrounding countries. It's also just how much water is surrounding you, and how much does your land mass weigh. So those are the more important factors. So there's no way that America is the strongest country. All news and politics and history have been so much more lies than previously thought. This is just irrefutable evidence. Okay, it's just dead giveaways by physics and science. Okay, it's irrefutable. Every religion would say that everything I said is physics and science. So it's over. All these people have been mentally ill. I was right. There's no way to deny it if you agree to what I'm saying here, and that's that. So, as far as I'm concerned, that prove look, I could say that I could try to argue that religions have said otherwise, but let's be honest. The Bible, for example, never in all my time reporting it on this channel, never in all of history has the Bible ever said that North America is the strongest country. The Bible never says any one particular country is the strongest or not. It just, religions don't do that. They just give you some vague statements about what they do, and people misconstrue it as meaning that they're trying to say something's this one's stronger than this one, when really, so yeah, I mean, let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe. Goodbye.